I'm Petty Officer Murphy. Today you guys gonna get to go on a great tour. You guys any of you guys been on the other ships yet?
Somerset.
Somerset? Okay, they're fairly new. They're fairly new. I haven't been on that one yet.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take you through. It's gonna be a lot smaller than the Somerset. We're gonna show you some of our good spaces. Show you guys what we do for a living. Everything you guys see in Hollywood with like combat and stuff, we'll show you. Our mission today is to get you guys on and off as safe as possible, and I'm hoping the line wasn't too long. So as soon as we get on board here, you guys are gonna walk on non-skid. It's very hard, very rough. It prevents us from slipping and sliding while we're on your way. So be careful about that. As we take you through the ship, we're gonna go through our P-ways with some knee knockers in there. They're about this high off the ground. They prevent water from flowing into each of the different compartments in case we have a flooding or something like that. Be aware of that. Lift your guys' feet up all the way before you guys walk over to the next base. When you're going up and down ladders, they call them ladders because they're very steep. They're not like stairs. So we're going to ask that you guys use both of the handrails while going up or down. If you guys have to turn around to go back down the ladder, it's absolutely fine. We just want you guys to be safe. With that being said, we are going to go into combat. And from what I know, we're the only ship out here that's doing these tours. Everybody that I've talked to so far said they haven't seen combat yet. But it's just like the movies, where we shoot our missiles from, where we shoot our guns from. So we're gonna go in there. It's nice and dark. We got the nice blue lights on. With that being said, it is our secret space that we're showing you. So we're gonna ask that you put away all your cameras, all your cell phones, and you guys don't take pictures of combat. Everywhere else on the boat is up for grabs. If you guys want to grab a sailor, say, hey, take a picture of me. Petty Officer told me. Petty Officer Murphy said so. Go ahead. When they get mad at me, they come at me later. Great. I did my job. You guys made a man. Amazing. Awesome. I'll hear about it. That means that you guys enjoyed your tour enough to grab pictures. Elsewhere, we're going to take you up forward. We're going to show you what we call our forecastle. We got our 5-inch up there. We're going to show you our missile launcher and some of the anchor chains up there. We're going to take you up to inside the ship. We're going to show you our ceremonial P-way. It's going to show you who Admiral Stockdale was, a couple of his pictures growing up. Really good guy. It's our little dedication to Admiral Stockdale, and we'll bring you back down here to the flight deck. You guys get to check out the helo back there, and talk to some of the pilots, ask them questions about what they do for their tours and stuff.
Just so it's easier to keep everybody together. So if you see Ice One Moser, he's our officer of the deck.
That's everything. Okay, thanks for your officer.
So I'm gonna hold us here just a little bit, let them get a couple steps ahead, just so we're not tripping over each other in the tour. So welcome aboard the USS Stockdale. My name is Lieutenant JG Katie Rice. I've been on board for about 8 months now as one of the junior officers on board. It's a pleasure to have you guys out here today. Have you gotten to hit some of the other ships this afternoon, or?
Somerset.
Somerset? First ship? Okay. They may have already covered it down there, but just, we have what we call knee knockers in a lot of the doorways, so just be careful as you're going through. Make sure you step over them. I've hit my shins on many of them, and it does sting a little bit, so just try to watch your step, make sure you step over. Also, we won't be going up and down too much, but there will be a few, we call them ladder wells, stairwells that we go up and down. Just try to keep your hands on the handrails and just take care. When we go down, if you feel more comfortable, feel free to turn around and go down backwards if you feel safer going that way. So just a little bit about the ship. We were built we're home ported in San Diego, California. Just came up this week for Fleet Week. We were originally built in Bath, Maine, and then to get over to San Diego, they actually had to sail all the way down through the Panama Canal and over to San Diego. We were commissioned April 18th, 2009. And have done, I believe, 3 different deployments. I was not on board for any of those. The last one was over in the Middle East area, and they went over into the Red Sea. And we're getting ready to deploy again here in within the next year. I have a crew of between 280 and 300 personnel, 509 feet long and about 66 feet wide. So fairly large. I mean, smaller than them and the Somerset, but still decently sized.
Section 1, D4 and below.
we'll take a step inside the helo hangar, and I'll talk to you a little bit briefly about what we do with helicopters on board, and then when we come back out at the end of the tour, our pilots will talk a little bit more in depth about the helicopter.
Chắc mình hậu lắm mà hay gì? Chúng ta cứ đi diễn bài lớn hơn, mình chậu lớn.
Okay.
All right. One more time. Squeeze in front of everybody. Try to get towards the middle. So this is what we call our honors passageway. It's tradition on all the ships to have a passageway kind of showing information about your ship's namesake. So, just trying to make sure I don't lose anybody. It gets like a maze in here. So ours is dedicated to Admiral James Stockdale, who was a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War. He was a commander when he was shot down, making him the highest ranking POW at that time that we had. He was actually the commander of his air wing, went out to fly a mission, was shot down over North Vietnam. When he realized he was the most senior person in his prison camp, he really made it an effort to organize the other American POWs in that camp. So he actually gave them different, I actually met one of them a few weeks ago who was his communications officer. So just like we have different positions on the ship, he gave everybody different positions in the prison camp just to kind of make it more like what they were used to within the service. He also, him and his fellow prisoners came up with a covert tapping code. So they got rid of the letter K and made K's and C's the same, and then made a 5x5 grid. So A would be one tap and one tap, B, 1, and then 2, and they'd spell out messages to each other by tapping on their cell walls. Because of that, he was a POW for 7.5 years, but because of all his organization efforts, he ended up being put in solitary confinement for 4 years because they considered him such a huge troublemaker. And then when he returned, he was released in 1973, and in 1976 was awarded with the Medal of Honor for the work he'd done as a POW. His wife, Sybil Stockdale, also did a lot. She was instrumental in raising awareness about the American POWs in Vietnam. And I guess they told her kind of when he was taken captive, oh, don't talk about it, don't let anybody know, just say he's still deployed. And she didn't accept that as a good answer. So she really organized the families of other POWs to come together and raise awareness for it. Fortunately, they are both, Admiral Stockdale passed away in 2005, and Mrs. Stockdale actually just passed away this past weekend. So, but they're a great inspiration to all of the crew. It kind of helps give you a good perspective when you think you're having a rough day, and then you walk down and see his picture and think about everything he dealt with. It just kind of helps you get through and gives you a good perspective on things. All right, next, if you'll follow me out this way, we're going to go out to what's called the forecastle and take a look at the 5-inch gun, the anchor, and where we launch it. Feeling all right now?
Yeah.
So this is the, as I said before, this is the forecastle. I'll just tell you a few things, then give you 3 to 5 minutes to walk around, take as many pictures as you want, and then we'll meet back over there on the other side where you see that other group leaving. So just a few things to note. So this is our 5-inch gun. It's our largest gun on board. As the name implies, it shoots 5-inch rounds, primarily an anti-aircraft weapon, but it would be slower moving aircraft like helicopters, not so much fast fighter jets or anything like that. You can also use it against surface targets or ground targets if we were close enough to shore. Then if you go up forward, you'll be able to see our anchor chain, which is what we use to lower our anchor. Common misconception, and I thought the same thing before I got to the ship, is that it's the actual anchor that holds the ship in place. In reality, it's just the weight of the chain. So depending on how deep the water is, the type of bottom, depends on how many links of chain we'll put down, and it's actually the weight of all that chain that holds the ship, not the actual anchor itself. And then these squares behind me, this is where we could launch missiles from. We have 2 main types of missiles on board. We have offensive, which would be our Tomahawk missiles, which are used for land attack, and then standard missiles, which were used for self-defense purposes. So if there was an aircraft trying to shoot us, trying to sink us, we could use those to shoot them. So like I said, feel free to walk around. Take about 5 minutes, walk around, take all the pictures you want. If you have any questions, I'll just kind of stand kind of in the middle somewhere.
Now these missiles, these Tomahawk missiles,
Yes,
are they nuclear?
No, sir, they're not. We don't carry anything nuclear on board.
Okay.
Just standard explosive.
Okay.
This is a conventional ship, simple propulsion.
We've got 4 gas engines in it.
Or you don't want to be in the
How long
picture?
do you guys have to wait in line? Apparently yesterday the lines were like 2 hours.
Have you ever been on a boat when they've got one of these things?
I have. The entire ship shakes.
Really? Like, how loud are we talking?
I can hear it from my stateroom, well, it's one deck up and probably 100 feet back, and I can hear it and feel it.
Okay.
We have to wear earplugs. So anybody, if we're about to fire, nobody's allowed to be outside of the doorway that we came out of. And then if you're up on the bridge, you can be up. You see those windows next to the bridge? You can be up there, but anybody up there has to wear hearing protection.
Really? And that's for the gun or missiles or both?
Good. For the gun, well, I think for the gun, where people are allowed to be outside, they just have to be like, if you see right above that like stop sign shaped panel, they can be up there outside. If we do missiles, everybody's going to be outside.
Okay.
But you can feel. I haven't actually been able to shot the missile because it's just expensive to test those.
Yeah.
But we shoot the gun for training frequently, and yeah, you can pretty much anywhere you are in the ship, you can feel the whole ship shake when you shoot it. It's fun to watch.
Now, when you train, what do you shoot?
A lot of times, though, sometimes we just shoot into. We have what's called killer tomatoes, and they're these big inflatable round donuts, pretty much, that will release those off the back of the ship.